that this misunderstanding that people have currently that the government, which for quite a while was held in the hands of a monopoly by the Republican Party, whether it was the executive branch, legislative branch, judicial branch, that somehow during this time the government wasn't funding abortion. Now this is a myth. If you have said that, you were unintentionally or intentionally misleading. If you believed it, you bought into a lie, bottom line. Okay, we still pay for abortions. It's all under this thing called public health services. Imagine that. Public health service disbursements. Now, if you go on the government websites there, you can find this thing called population control. Actually, it was population control, I believe, back in 2005. Now, I think it's called population regulation, if I remember correctly. But these are population control funds. Now, population control funds are within this public health services, and it's tucked away in this thing called Title 10. And Title 10's got a whole lot of money in there. And a whole lot of money that's going towards population control. Now, I don't know about you, okay, but if it's a health thing, and we're talking about population control, I don't think we're talking about, like, visas, work visas. We're talking about passports. We're talking about controlling the population through childbirth, whether it's through abortion, whether it's through contraceptives, whatever it may be. But we have under President Bush a Republican House, we have under a Republican Senate, we have Planned Parenthood receiving close to 35% of its funds from federal grants and contracts. Think about that. A private organization, Planned Parenthood, receiving over 1/3 of its money from the federal government. And this was during a time, now let's think for a second. Planned Parenthood is responsible for what percentage of abortions in America? The distribution of what percentage of abortifacient contraceptives? And yet 35% of its funding came through bills that had a signature of President George W. Bush on it. Were given to him by a Republican Congress. Now, some of these people argue that it really doesn't go to abortion-related activities. I had a couple people tell me this. One was a relatively influential man working up in Grand Rapids. And he talked to me about it. He said, well, no, they don't go directly to abortion. Okay, well, this may very well be true. You don't necessarily have an abortion take place, and then all of a sudden you get a check that says from the federal government on it. But that's completely missing the point. I mean, if I paid money to the mob, and I knew that money, okay, it was going to a population control fund for the mob, and a bunch of people got shot, would I be tied to that if they found that the guns...
liable.
I definitely have some kind of liability in this entire thing. I'm connected in one way or another. But the policy under consideration here is what's called the Mexico City policy. Now, this is primarily dealing, if I remember correctly, dealing with foreign countries. But it has to do with, can they use government funds for things such as abortion? Now, for the record, and this is important, for the record, under George W. Bush, we have seen these population control funds funded by over $30 million more than Clinton at his highest mark.
Wow.
Think about this for a second. You have a pro-life president and one who claims to be pro-choice. The pro-life president outfunds population control funds by $30 million. In short, Bush and the Republicans are greasing this whole thing up. They're paying for it, one baby at a time. For 35 years, the Republican Party, every single time around, says the exact same thing. That they're going to stop it. And yet, ever since, they keep increasing funding. Every time. And instead of trying to put forward measures that would actually minimize abortion, and trying to figure out the economic factors that go into play, like medical benefits, for example, like living wage. Like that if a woman is pregnant and she has the guy is split on her through a no-fault divorce, that guy might, maybe we should tighten up on the no-fault divorce laws. Maybe we should put something together where a woman doesn't have to be bullied into making a decision between spending the first couple weeks with their child or having a job by which to feed them. Oh, no. The Republicans don't put any of that stuff in place. All that stuff would minimize the number of abortions. But no. Don't do that. Instead, let's go ahead and promote a constitutional amendment, which simply is not going to happen. That's pie in the sky. And people who keep peddling that thing, it's like parading around on a dead horse. It's not going anywhere. Justices, the Supreme Court, you hear this every time. Even Pat Buchanan, the Kool-Aid drinker. Pat Buchanan comes out there and says, well, we need to vote for McCain because McCain's going to put a justice in there. Do you know since 1973 the Republicans have appointed 80% of the judges to the Supreme Court? 80%! All you need, my friends, is a 5-4. Pro-life Republican presidents have appointed 80%. They just need 5-4. You do the math. What do they need? 9 out of 9? Literally, do they need 9 out of 9? And every single time, we're going to sit there and cross our fingers and hope one dies. But every single time, they lie about what they've done, they lie about what they're doing, they lie about what they're going to do. And I haven't even got started. And I'm not going to. I'm going to wait till later to deal with the whole contraception deal. You want to talk about contraception? I'll give you the quick rundown. Just from abortifacient. I'm not talking about condoms and everything else. And I'm taking the low numbers, the low statistics with conception. If you believe, like all the pro-lifers out there pretty much believe in, that it's life from the moment of conception. If you believe that, and you look at the conception rate, the possibility rate, and you take the lowest number of all the different kinds of contraceptives, whether they're oral, whether they're IUDs, Depo-Provera, Norplant, saline, well, that would be a chemical abortion. Whatever it may be, you take the lowest percentage, and then you figure out what that would come out to. On the low end, 7,905,000 babies dead, if you believe that life is at the moment of conception. The high end, 13,025,000. And yet, the Republicans are all in a humdrum over the medical abortions, whether it's through saline, whatever it may be, which the high end's around 100,000 for that. Surgical abortions about 1,500,000, somewhere in that range. Altogether, you're dealing with about 1.6 million altogether, compared to just through contraceptives, abortifacient contraceptives, the low end being 7,905,000. And you think that the major concern is the chemical or medical ones? You people are backwards.